Which I'll monitor my phone. If it drops out, then I'll.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 finger swipe up.
Yeah.
The idea is
So we'll do one more check.
I'm gonna have Bryce reach out to her.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think. Isn't that like the new, like awesome thing? If you have an idea, submit it. So that's not really a question for here.
Well, she actually did submit it. And I'll make sure.
Did you make sure this works?
Yeah. I'll make sure.
Okay. He's also just the best. He deserves
How many viewers you have? Already watching all of this now.
Do you think Jim's gonna want to?
We just hit the start. So
Can I go stand in front of
Yeah, this Chris, what the plan is. Like, I think they'll have some sort of gathering.
Yeah, because it's not really a one size fits all answer. Right. And that's why I put it on the spot.
Yeah, you told me about it.
That would be at 59.
Is he coming today?
You have his mic? Chris, why don't you meet him in the hallway? That way you don't have to undress in front of everybody.
Got it.
Street. While they're talking, your main thing is going to be important, right? You've got Jim, you've got Stefan. And you want to keep Jim muted, you want to talk going, and vice versa. So you can use mute buttons, you can use buttons. Just go to the room. If you get feedback and the whole thing's blowing up, and you can grab that.
I tried to make the pictures as non-motion as
Hey, it's just like 10 to 15 seconds. Check, check. Almost took your head off. All right, Jim mic. Yeah, so flip them on when you.
We got another minute? Okay. We got a cup of coffee.
Is he gonna go get
We can start using the big folder. See this big page.
I can do that. Lower it up. I usually do like recording generation. I did anyway. Think about it. I'll take care of it in a little bit.
Exactly.
Think we can start, Carolyn? Okay. Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to try a new format, which I'll get to, but I love to start these Defenders Live sessions with good news, and you've given me a lot of content for that once again. Every single month, you've given me a lot of good news to share with you. So I'm going to start with some records the team told me about last night, and they did a nice job summarizing them, and I've still left it a handful to share with you. The first is October, highest ever lead volume month for Defenders. Obviously an indicator of where the business is going. October also represented the second highest sales month in the history and the second highest install month in the history of Defenders. Great. These records, by the way, came in second to the all-time record month which we've talked about. It was also our highest net thorough protection month. I think it was $602 net thorough protection, and the highest flex pay usage at 24.2%. What flex pay is it allows our customers, those that choose and those that qualify, a limited time to pay off the system. So they have several payments that they can make, and that always correlates with future excellent thorough protection. So the higher the flex pay, higher the thorough protection goes. That's a really good leading indicator for thorough protection. At the highest pulse month in the company's history, 75.9% of the systems that were installed to them. So over 3 out of 4 of the families we protected are now getting the benefits of some level of home automation, because we know that the market's headed there. You're growing. It seems to me that people around the business are having fun. You're competing, you're winning, and I think a good indicator of the results that you've consistently produced is that we have broken previous year month and what was required to deliver the budget or the plan, the financial and operating plan, every single month so far this year. The annual, I've said this to you before, you can't miss the annual objectives if you deliver them or exceed them every single month. Reliably, and that's what great teams do. And they deliver reliably, predictably. Really fantastic. So I am going to start this. I don't know if we'll stick with it. We'll see how it goes, but I like it. Carolyn and Chris Mills and team suggested that we break the Defenders Live into 3 sections, and we'll do that around the thematic goal. Our thematic goal is, what's our thematic goal? Adam? Look out the window.
Maximize value for teams and ADT.
Fantastic. Well done, Adam. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot. From now on, you want to face that way. But what I'll do is, so we're going to break it into 3 parts. I'll focus on the first one, which is maximizing value for team members. Just kidding, Adam. First, so there's a bunch of things that happen. This will not even be all-inclusive list, although it's pretty comprehensive. So in this past month, your well-earned profit bonus should have gotten into your accounts over the weekend. I think Bart and team got them out a little bit early, but the profit bonus was definitely evident for everybody yesterday, and that reflects your hard work, your growth personally and professionally, and your results, the contributions that you're making to your company. Top line, bottom line, operations-wise,
philanthropically, you're killing it, and the profit bonus showed that. We shared 4 great additions to our 2018 benefits plan. Each of these came from suggestions that were made by team members at Defenders. We launched Alex. Alex is an online tool that's available 24/7 that helps you select the best benefit plan for you and your family. The HSA match is back. So beginning in 2018, if you enroll in an HSA 3000 or the HSA 5000 plan, Defenders will match your contributions up to $10 per pay period or $520 per year. It's a good deal. It's a wise decision. Option now to purchase up to $750,000 worth of additional voluntary life and AD&D insurance. I didn't know what that meant. Accidental death and dismemberment. So you have the option now to choose to buy up to $750,000 life and accidental death and dismemberment coverage. Substantial increase from the previous $200,000 level. And it's in addition now, remember, to the $50,000 of basic term life and AD&D insurance that is already provided to all of us, each of us, and is at no cost. And finally, TrueScripts is replacing Anthem as Defenders prescription management partner. Their program, TrueScripts program, is designed to help you save money and ensure broader, better access to the prescriptions that you and your family need. Enhancements to our benefits program, again, I think I got them all, David, but if I didn't, it'll be, did I get them all? Okay, good. All of them, each of them is a result of suggestions that had been made by a team member thinking and acting like an owner around here. So thank you for that. Next week, we're going to begin our annual performance review process. Take the time to take it seriously. We often say, and our board of directors and our owner has observed this many times this year, the reason that Defenders is kicking butt is because of the growth of our team members. Your growth, we're each growing, and when we grow faster than the people that we compete against, look what happens. We win. We could be selling the exact same security system, but we will win, and we'll win every single time. So this performance review and development process has gotten better. Chris Mills and her team, I think, have made a lot of improvements to this, and they're bringing it to life as opposed to a one-time static thing. We want to have this be a part of what we do and how we operate every single day, all year long. So I think more information gets sent out on that mid-month, November 13th. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Threlkel. Ryan Threlkel will be focused on what we're doing to maximize value for our customers. Now, everybody knows Ryan. Ryan is now the Customer Experience Operating Czar. Czar in his title. And he's also a grand poobah, but that is not on his business card. Ryan?
Yes.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning, everybody. I am excited to get to talk about customer experience this morning. And just to start off, the customer experience team is really working hard to continue the momentum that we've had over the last 2 months. I'm going to share 3 things with you that are kind of the keystone items that we're working on. First of all, a shout out to our customer care agents. So we have increased the availability of those, how much time they're spending able to take calls or on the phone, 6 points in the last month, from 77% up to a visionary 84%. Which is really cool. When you combine that, especially with record low calls per install, in fact, down to 3.3 last week. That's a number that was stuck at 4.0 for years. 3.3 calls per install. High availability led us to visionary abandon rates in customer care last month. It's really sweet because it all feeds back into it. Low abandon rate leads back into fewer callbacks from customers, which is lower calls per install, which starts the cycle all over again. And ultimately, we get to take better care of customers without having to overstaff our teams, which is something we want to pay attention to. Coming from feedback from our focus groups, as well as a CXT strategy circle session, we are developing a new first call resolution metric for the customer experience team. Important because as we define and measure this metric, it's going to tell us what types of phone calls we can increase our training on. So we get to work with L&D on that, as well as working with IT in what areas of the customer experience lifecycle we should focus more of our system improvement ideas. So that's coming. And then the last thing that I wanted to focus on was a partnership that we're building between finance and IT to make it easier for customers to interact with us in the future. The customer care team alone receives 18,000 phone calls a week. And not only is it an expensive way for us to do business, it's also not the way customers would like to have to do business every time they have a question. So Scott Lavengood and Casey and some of the other like shared services area of the CXT are using new CRM data that we've got available to us to help prioritize how we can help customers take care of their answers without always requiring a phone call. The short way of saying it is we want customers to interact with us the way they want to make a phone call if that's what they're wanting to do, not because our system forces it. So it's exciting customer experience. There's a positive buzz over there in the CEC. I would encourage you to check out. I'm going to pass it off to Dan Ablin, our Vice President of Field Services, to talk about maximizing value for ADT.
All right, thanks, Ryan. So we've been doing a ton recently all around the business to maximize value for ADT. Best-in-class marketing compliance efforts to increasing e-contract usage, which helps improve our customers' onboarding experience. Far the best thing we've done second half of the way. So we came out of the gate strong in July, almost every single week by just a hair. But most weeks we've been at visionary levels. So 30-day cancels cost ADT a lot. A financial standpoint and from a brand standpoint. And so by your efforts, reducing 30-day cancels from 4.5% to 3.2%, over 1,000 extra families affected since July. That translates to a ton of value for both your company. That's all I have to share.
Gives us 15 minutes for questions. We can you can ask questions of Dan or Ryan or me or anybody else. One another. Al, here, let me get you the microphone. Yeah, you're supposed to catch it after it bounces off Shelby's head.
I actually have a question for Ryan about the improved availability. You mentioned it was up 6 points. That's a pretty significant increase. What was changed to improve that availability?
Throw it back.
Yeah, so this one was pretty simple. We talked to the agents around why it was important. L&D was a big part of it. Adam was a huge part of it. And the team has just kind of delivered simply because they've understood why we're asking them to do this. So it was a good lesson for me personally. And just when you educate somebody on the why, they're happy to step up. And the team has been pretty amazing.
Excellent, thank you.
Other questions? You have one. No? I have a question. Why aren't there more questions? There's a lot of things.
In a similar vein to Ryan's, can we ask Dan why 30-day cancels? What are some of the big reasons for that success? And Dan, could you repeat the question, because I don't have to catch both.
Yeah, so the question was, what has happened that has helped to reduce 30-day cancels? I think it's efforts all around the business. In the field, we've been really focused on quality rate. We had contests going around quality rate to make sure that we didn't have to go back and fix problems. We also had a security manager spiff out there to get them really focused on 30-day cancels. The retentions team has made a lot of improvements. Being able to answer calls and improve first call resolution just diminishes the amount of customers that get frustrated over multiple attempts and then end up just saying, no, I'm done, I'm canceling. So it's really been a full company effort. One thing that's really driven it.
Eric, that's a really good question. You know, I have observed in my years with Defenders, really simple. And that is that Defenders people, focus equals growth. And it's more than a bumper sticker. Defenders people, the rules of the game. We understand what we're focused on, what's the goal. We understand the rules of the game, how to win or lose. Get the heck out of where the goalposts are. We will win that game. And I think that the WIG methodology, the 4DX methodology and wildly important goals, I think our organization just took to them like a hand in a well-fed glove. And I think that that's, with time, we've gotten better and better at it. And so even if I personally can't 30-day cancels in the right direction, I will find a way, once I know that's the team's objective, to help facilitate the accomplishment of that goal. And I always am reminded of, I think I've shared this with you guys before, when LBJ, President Johnson, in Houston in the mid-60s. And he saw a janitor. And he walked over to the janitor who was cleaning up, and he said, excuse me, sir, but what do you do here at NASA? And the janitor's response was, Mr. President, I'm here to put a man on the moon. Everybody was aligned. And I think that the 4DX methodology, 30-day cancels right now, I think that's what our team has done with this. I think it's really impressive. And the case studies here at your company, after 2 years, not even 2 years with Wildly Important Goal, is in that book. If you haven't read 4DX, I would recommend you read it. Other questions? Chris, did you want to say something?
There's been a write-in question.
Oh, for first time in months.
I know. It's coming from the field, so thanks to Wade Wilson from the Florida region. First off, he wants to compliment you on your sweater.
Hey.
But that led to the question when he went out to purchase gear. When he typed it in, the website came up and said it wasn't working. So just so you know, we changed vendors. You want to access it directly from the intranet page, and you'll see over on the left, Defenders Gear. Click on that one. Remove any of the old URLs you have. Okay, so
Defenders
he's gonna
Swag
purchase
now,
your-
Chris.
What?
It's Defenders Swag
It's
now.
Defender Swag now. So okay.
Yeah, some really cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah. DNA Defenders. A lot of Iowa aficionado. You've got a lot of it.
A lot of Defenders pull-ups.
Yeah.
Jim, where do we stand with the ADT contract?
Good question. That I personally worked that along with a team of other people 7 days a week. And there are interactions with ADT 7 days a week. I think we stand in a good place because A, we have a wonderful contract right now. have to renegotiate it. But ADT would like to, because they'd like to have a longer term agreement with us before they do their initial private offering or public offering IPO. And I think that they're probably targeting to do that in the first quarter or early second quarter. So they'd like to get a contract done. And I think we've set in pretty good shape to have a long-term contract. And what I think ADT has realized over the last 2 decades of doing business with us is just how powerful, I don't mean to get cocky because we got a lot of room for improvement, but just how powerful you have made engine and how it can be applied to anyone. I mean, and that they may have been underutilizing it for the ADT brand. Bart? Okay. Work going on. I'm optimistic, but we have a good contract. So it's not going to get any worse. It's going to get better. Good results are the currency that we need. You guys are just putting high octane into the gas tank. It makes it easy for us to drive the car.
This is more of a question for Ryan. You were talking about on how we'd rather have customers call into the CEC when they want to. In what ways are we going to do business with them if they're not going to be calling into the CEC?
I wonder if we should invest in a second one of those.
Yeah, that's a good question. And that, honestly, I think Scott would be better to answer that for us. What I would say right now is that we have a ton of information available to us. We're capturing information around like the most common reasons for calling, and some of those are things that could be as simple as when you call in, we recognize recently, and we may prompt you if you just ask if you have a question about your first bill. That's like a super example, super simple example. And then if you say yes to that, then we could even explain it to you on the phone. So there's items like that. There's lots of self-serve options that Laban Good has been researching for us that will help them do that. Ultimately, we are always going to be a call center for inbound phone calls, but we also want to let customers, get to know their system a little bit without always having to place a call to customer care, which gets transferred to CTS, may get transferred to the retention team, and generate 3 phone calls for what could have been an online question. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
First, I wanted to give a shout out to the Starbucks machine.
You have a little bit more energy.
I know, I'm telling you. But second, where does the headquarter renovation kind of stand?
Rich or Bart, you want to answer that? Where renovation stand?
So I think I have mentioned before, doing the renovations at the CEC, the sales center, some of our field offices. We put together a plan that we're still working through in terms of doing some renovations here at the headquarters space. So we visited a lot of local offices that are similar to ours in terms of size and location. And we've got a lot of good ideas, and we put them into a plan, and we've done a process. We went out, we had some bids, and some contractors come through to price out the different components of what we'd like to do. We put that together, and we've got some opportunities to put it in front of our finance and risk committee, which is a subcommittee of the board, to get their approval and then board approval. And we're going to align it with our MSA discussions and how those are progressing. And once we get all of those things buttoned down, all that goes to plan sometime next year. So, anything?
No, like that Starbucks machine may have set the budget up in the wrong.
I think you guys were last week. We are testing. We are testing some different coffee machines, and so we've got it for several weeks, and so thank you guys for the feedback on that. We might test some other machines, and if there's one that works for us, or see which one we like the best. So try some different coffees.
Suggestion was to keep testing them because you get the test period for free.
Right.
Bart liked that suggestion. He almost gave me a spot. Particularly for Rich.
I loved hearing what you said about performance reviews and our tech cleanup, though. Give us some insight on your thoughts on how we can use this tool to close some succession gaps in our organization.
Chris, do you want to take that, or you want me to take it? Closing succession gaps is very timely.
It is very timely. So when we think about succession, let's just talk about what that is first, right? So every position that we have, our goal is to always have somebody ready now to fill that role. Not that we ever want anyone to leave us at all, hint, hint, prepared. And so as we go into performance review, there's a couple of components to that. One, it's important for you to raise your hand and say, I want something to grow. I want a new job. I want to be promoted. So what does that look like? How that fits into your IDP, your individual development plan. Nice version of that to help you out. And then we sit in talent reviews with people leaders, and we go through every single employee and we say, what are their strengths? And then from there, we add some additional pieces to your development plan. In 2018, we're going to get back to our roots. We've kind of walked away from some of those leadership programs and base programs. You're going to see us kick those off again. One is actually going to kick off in December, and we'll start building on that all next year. Great.
Good answer. David Crawford. No, she's a basketball player.
So I'll start by just saying, don't forget it's open enrollment. You have till November 20th, 14 days left. But I know ADT was in yesterday and had some meetings from around the wheel. Are there any updates or anything that came out of those meetings? Anybody want to share?
Anybody who wants to go? I'm happy to. Richard, do you want to say something? It was quarterly business reviews, or QBRs, designed to do some tactical things, to make sure we stay calibrated, that our gyroscopes aren't getting out of sync, which can happen. And then we talked about some operating opportunities and some strategic opportunities, specific things that we could be doing more of for ADT. All right. Is concluding, well, we're all about maximizing value for ADT. I think they're realizing, Defenders is a chassis. We put this car on, we could be driving much, much harder and getting more value out of. And if we don't, then they're going to find additional other things to do, energies to sell additional brands. So I think they're figuring out how can they, and yesterday was a good example of that, how could we tap more significantly or fully into what you're capable of, Defenders, not just what you're doing. Our results are very impressive to them. And they told us this yesterday, a larger share of the overall ADT business. I think it was 30%, which is really impressive because that measurement was done in season. So there are door knocking dealers and operations. They grow faster in the summer months, the warm weather months, and then they go away. So that measurement, that market share measurement, occurred during that door knocking season. It's a bigger share for us going forward. So they were pretty excited when they got here. Renee, here.
Just a
repeat off what David said. We have open enrollment going on, and at 10 o'clock in this room, we actually have a presentation about open enrollment. So might as well stick around and see what you can learn about open enrollment and the new benefits.
Go get a Starbucks coffee.
That's right.
Good. Great questions. I couldn't be more proud of you. I hope you're proud of yourselves and of each other, not just for how you're doing things, but with the character that you're demonstrating along the way. Session. We'll see you next month.